Hello everybody, we are here today with Carol Gordon. We have our exhibit up for the month of October and it is titled The Creative Journey of Carol Gordon, celebrating 75 years of life with art. Hi Carol, thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you so much, Kate. I really appreciate it. I'm feeling really humbled and appreciative for the opportunity to have this solo exhibit at Pine Logs in October this year. And it's particularly important for me because this month I also turned 75. So it's a great celebration and I feel very honored. This beautiful building has been quite dear to me from its beginning as a cultural center in 1990, where I've been fortunate to exhibit my art over the decades. I've also held many painting courses and workshops here. As I walk through the rooms and look at my exhibit of nearly 100 pieces of art, I'm aware that I'm seeing my creative journey laid out before me and the artwork which emerged out of that journey. My curiosity, emotions, and intuition have always taken the lead. And as I view my artwork that has been created over the decades, I'm left with the feeling of awe and joy at what my inner world has nudged me to produce. I was raised in a Hollywood filmmaking family, and that naturally has had a major influence on me. The creative process was the soil I grew up in, although it led me in a very different direction from my parents and siblings. The uneasy experiences I was having within my family and the social and political environments I was growing up in and living in guided me to seek a creative outlet of my own. And I took up photography at 15 to capture the moment on film. And here's a quote that I quite like of Dorothea Lange, one of my idols. Photography takes an instant out of time, altering life by holding it still. Art is a byproduct of an act of total attention. I didn't read it then, but I certainly relate to it, and it was one of the reasons I was drawn to still photography as opposed to film, moving pictures. I wanted to capture that moment. In my early 20s, I immigrated to Canada. I was nudged by my Banff School of Fine Arts photography teacher that first summer here in 1970 to pursue a career in journalism, and I did sporadically, that is. It also helped me to add the writing element to my photography and to my life. In my late 20s, I began painting with watercolors to find creative expression for my emotional realm. So photography was capturing the outer world, writing was helping me articulate the thoughts I was having and the conflict of ideas and such. And painting, I was looking for something, and particularly watercolor painting, because it flows and it's so expressive. It became a perfect match for me to be able to let those emotions find their form on paper. Just as my creative process drew me to paint and photograph, I've also been drawn to seek out creative people and experiences that inspire me. My influences have included all my photography and painting mentors in high school, at the Banff School of Fine Arts, now the Banff Center, and at the Vancouver School of Art, now Emily Carr, University of Art and Design. The artists who I have been inspired and influenced by include photographers Julia Margaret Cameron, Margaret Bourke-White, Dorothea Lange, Edward Steichen, and his Family of Man book, which has been a very important book for me. It came out of a New York large exhibit that I didn't know about, but I knew about the book, and I've got a couple of copies in my library. Writers who have been very important to me and continue to be: Anais Nin, Simone de Beauvoir, Louanne Armstrong out of Boswell. Painters and multidimensional artists include Paul Klee, Judy Chicago, Edvard Munch, and the Expressionists are extremely important to me because my painting came out of that same, I think, that same thread of finding expression for the angst that you may feel in life, as well as the joy and the beauty. Georgia O'Keeffe, and I've discovered recently that the photographs that I've got in this exhibit of flowers, and I call them portraits of a flower, number 1 or number 2, and also a portrait of a forest, is very much like her portraits of flowers that are painted, but the ones that I'm talking about in this exhibit are photographs. So unbeknownst to me, consciously, she was influencing the idea of get in there close and get a good portrait of this flower. Additional painters and multidimensional artists, Picasso, of course, and Rodin, Frida Kahlo, Vincent van Gogh, among many, many others. I'm very grateful for their inspiration in all the books and movies and the new Beyond Van Gogh that I just saw in Calgary that just has impacted me deeply. Filmmakers, a couple of them that came to mind off the top is Fellini and Ken Burns. I continue to be deeply impacted by these people and others that I may have not initially thought of, by their profound and honest imagery and their courage. And I like to emulate where I can, when I can, their example. When asked, is there a certain theme or message I hope to give the viewer of my painting? It's this: like the seasons, emotions and thoughts are an element of nature. They fluctuate and are changeable. My watercolor paintings are created out of that realm, seeking balance and inner peace. And a couple of quotes that help support that for me is one by Picasso from 1935. The picture is not thought out and fixed in advance. While it is being made, it follows the mobility of one's thoughts. When it is finished, it changes even more, according to the state of the person looking at it. A picture lives its own life like a living creature. It undergoes the changes that daily life imposed on us. This is natural enough, since a picture lives only through him or her who looks at it. And another one by Edvard Munch. Nature is not only all that is visible to the eye, it also includes the inner pictures of the soul. And a last one by Paul Klee. Art does not reproduce what we see, rather, it makes us see. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Carol, for sharing your thoughts with us, and it's been just such an honor to have you in our gallery for this month. Carol's show is up until October 30th if you would like to come down and take a look, and Carol frequents the gallery throughout this month, so if you'd like to come and chat with her in person, that would be wonderful as well. Thanks again, Carol.
Thank you.